There it is. By God.
Yes, we are live indeed. And a pointing goodies to all of you Ramblemaniacs and all you BC aliens out there. For it does go a little something like this 6XL forever. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Ramblemania Show proudly brings to you. I'm your villainous live man, the patriarchy of the Ramblemania Show. For I am Hazel, the iZombie. Join along with me, as always,
Desire, your main time champion of all the cosmos, one half of the greatest tag team that's ever lived in this universe, and all the others, TJ the Great to TJ the Great.
you do realize that I don't even mention my accolades anymore. Like that was already done and over with now that the championship's officially
I
retired.
mentioned it because of the scope of the multiverse and to lead into the fact that I'm a part of the greatest tag team that's ever lived. That's why.
Only in the multiverse.
I gotta pay
Multiverse
tribute
theory
to
is
my
a
tag
real
team
thing,
partner.
folks.
It is.
But yes, this is the Ramblemania Show podcast. We are back in podcast format. After a year of not doing this, we are finally returning to talk about what took place at AEW's inaugural pay-per-view event called Redemption. And my God, what a fucking show last night. There was at least about so much anticipation going into All In that we finally got to see some Easter eggs and tidbits of what's going to be taking place going on Wednesday and then the next 5 weeks going forward until we hit August 30th when we go back to Wembley to see All In again. And we're going to basically talk about every match that took place. We're going to grade them and we're going to have some fun with it. What more can you ask for, right?
Yeah, this pay-per-view was, well, the initial rumor was it was set up as a vehicle to put the title on Mr. Kenny Omega and getting him to defeat MJF. But then they moved that to TV, and we were sort of left with a in-between No Way Out-esque kind of situation, with this being their last pay-per-view before they do their big one, which is All In at Wembley. So, it is sort of in the B pay-per-view territory, especially considering it's a debut show. But, it's AEW, and as we're going to talk about, they've set a high standard for themselves.
For us, they definitely set a high standard. Other people were basically in the in-between with certain matches that were on the card. Some things were overwhelmed. Some things were overhyped. Again, that's what other reviewers and dirt sheet people are saying. For us, it's we're real wrestling fans. We actually appreciate the art and the craft that these guys put out there. And, whether if it's good or bad, we're going to give you guys the fairest of all reviews that we could give you going forward. What more? Again, it's one of those shows where it's yes, this is a B caliber show. It's an inaugural show. You weren't expecting a lot coming out of this, but we got something out of it. Again, going into All In, which we will talk about with certain matches that took place on the card. First off, I will say before we get to the main card, they did do a celebration of 80 combined years of the Rougeau family, wrestling family. They came out, they cut a promo in French Canadian, and I'm just like, where are the subtitles? I need subtitles for this. They did their thing. They beat the crap out of Rocky Romero, and my whole thing was, where the fuck was Trent Beretta in this? Why wasn't he involved? Did they just say, hey, Rocky, go out there and go get your ass kicked by some old people? So, yeah. We did only have one match on the buy-in, which is a shock because usually they would do 3 or 4, but they only just did the one. And that was the Conglomeration defending the Trios tag team titles against the Lethal Twist, which was a pretty good match. I don't know why they needed the demand on commentary for it, but whatever. They teased that they're next in line for those. They teased that they're next in line for those titles, and they're getting their title shot this Wednesday on Dynamite. But yeah, that's basically everything that took place on the buy-in. There are going to be some changes within the show going forward. because there is no worst match on this card. So instead of worst match of the night, we're gonna be doing a mid match of the night.
There is a worse match just by process of elimination. There is. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad match, but in comparison to all the other matches on the show.
Yeah, but for this one, I figured, since every match was actually entertaining, it didn't tire us out. It didn't feel like we were falling asleep throughout the entire show.
In that case, that's AEW though. Like they rarely have like outright bad matches on pay-per-views.
No, yeah, that's
but not often.
True. Yeah, but we are gonna do a mid match of the night since there was, I wouldn't say some stinkers. There was some moments where we were telling ourselves like, why didn't they do more, or why do so much when you could have just done, less is more. All right. But for those of you who are new here on the Ramblemania show that have not seen our live recaps or anything like that, hold on.
All right. You do got 10 matches already on the card. The main card.
Apparently, we have a house meeting. Are we really doing this now? I'm
no, bro. She said at this time.
Bro, I'm live here. You don't need to raise your voice.
Chill though. Chill with that. Just tell them to close it. Let's have our meeting.
Well, while he deals with that, we do have 10 matches on the main card. And not a single one went under 15 minutes, which I will have something to say about that, just in terms of card layout and match layout and everything like that. Because, it's AEW, so it's going to be a long runner. But you also, you got every single match pretty much going through shine, heat, comeback, falsies. Like the formula kind of was samey throughout the card, because once you get past the 15-minute mark and building your match, you've got a structure that you're generally rolling with, unless you're a Kenny Omega type, who I'm also going to talk about in his main event match, and how he structures matches and how he's one of the greatest ever to do it because of the way and how he structures matches. But yeah, Young Wolf is here. He's in the building. He says, "This is my quick review. Redemption good. Summerfest has two blokes kissing a face-painted bloke. I don't know what that means." Oh, no. What is it? CM Punk and Cody, right? Yeah, I saw that clip of them making out with Danhausen. What do you want? It's funny. I remember when Punk first returned to the World Wrestling Federation, I did say, like, one of the matches I would actually give a shit about is him and Cody, and now I'm at the point where I don't give a shit about anything that happens there. So whatever. But yeah, let him make out with the face painted bloke. It's fine.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, we on redemption time. We on big REDEMPTION time. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about show structure, card structure, and match structure, things of that nature, and how it pertains to Mr. Ken Omega.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So listen, apparently I forgot that there was a house meeting that's taking place. So you're going to have to take over for the next 15 minutes while I deal with this. And I have people polluting my air right now. So it's kind of pissing me off.
No, go ahead. Do what you got to do. I'll hang out for a second.
Yeah. In the meantime, talk about how they changed Mike Santana to Cruz Montana.
I have nothing to really say about that. I have nothing to really say about that. World Wrestling Federation do what the World Wrestling Federation do. Apparently, he chose the name. I was telling Yoshi earlier, I feel like that's a decision he made so as to not sell them or give them his name, because that's what you do in WWE now. That's the type of time they're back on. Either you rename yourself and give them the rights, or you rename yourself and whatever, or you sell the rights to your IP. Essentially, you're selling your IP rights. So I guess Santana was like, I'm not going to do that. If ever I leave this place, if it doesn't work out, whatever, he can just go back to being Mike Santana. on wherever he goes after this. But if Cruz Montana works out and is successful, then you got something. So I wish him luck. I wish him the best. I will not be watching. I've seen, like I told you earlier, I've seen my last Mike Santana match for now, unless he leaves that place, or I don't know, unless he like main events WrestleMania or something. That's probably the only time I'm gonna fucking watch. But I wish him the best. I wish him nothing but success. Hopefully he does really well there. Obviously he's got the tools. Like if you've seen Mike Santana, the guy can talk, the guy can wrestle. He's authentic. I feel like that's a major thing that might actually be a detriment to him in that company, but in otherwise in pro wrestling in general, it's a good thing. He's authentic. Like Mike Santana speaks. You see Mike Santana, you feel him, you hear him, you believe in what he's presenting to you. So I think he's got plenty of advantages in that sense, but we'll see. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know about nothing going on with the World Wrestling Federation. We can talk about what's going on with Dynamite this week. We can talk about what's going on in the dub in terms of the results, the layout of this show going towards All In, because given that it was a B show, it did have some important developments going forward. I felt like, obviously the big main event angle with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay and the Death Riders and all that stuff, I've seen mixed opinions on it. My thought process on it is it's been a fairly interesting story up to this point, even if it's had its weird beats and is not something that I would necessarily build for Will Ospreay going into Wembley. Like, he's going into his home country. He's coming back off of an injury. He's supposed to be the coming back all-conquering hero. But they've thrown several wrinkles and wrenches into the storyline by having this Death Riders thing he's doing pop up. And I suppose it builds conflict. It builds interest in what's going on. You had the show ending with Kenny hitting. Well, you had the big angle with Mox coming out, and they tried to kill Kenny Omega with the bag, same as they did to Bryan Danielson. You even had Wheeler Yuta doing the exact same thing that they did to him. Like, yo, come here, Will, I'm gonna hug you while they kill this man, so you ain't got to witness it, and you ain't got to deal with it. But Will Ospreay was privy to it. He was wise to it, and he decided, no, wait, bro, I'm not gonna kill this man, bro. It's not right. So he did not kill Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega seemingly took offense to it anyway. He saw the bag. He saw Will Ospreay in the ring. And after they hit the R1, he hit him with the one-winged angel. He said, this fucker tried to kill me. And he got with the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks was like, yo, I don't think he was trying to kill you. But he said, nah, fuck that. This guy tried to kill me. Fuck this guy. You get in here, and we're going to pose. And they posed, and that was the show. So obviously, I do think that will be the big hook on Dynamite this week. What is the fallout of that? How does that impact the feud going forward? Is Kenny Omega a heel, quote unquote? I don't think he is necessarily. I just think they're, again, building conflict and heat for this angle in this match at All In. And I do think, like I said before, you don't really want to go into that building this, not necessarily heel thing, but this muddled tweener thing with Ospreay, when you know that he's going into his home country and the people are going to want to cheer him. They're going to want to see him conquer and become the man. And I think Kenny is doing his part to play into that, and they're writing the dynamic, so to speak. We'll see this week, because I definitely think, given what happened with the Death Riders, I don't think Mox and them are out of the picture just yet. Like, we may have like some sort of 4-on-4 type situation where you got maybe the Elite and Ospreay as an uneasy partners kind of thing, even though they already did that, but they could do it again. You can have that, and they take on the Death Riders, Mox, Yuta, DG, Claudio, or whatever combination you want to use, except Marina, I guess. But yeah, I think that there will be little bits and pieces of continued build-up throughout the weeks heading into All In. So obviously you got that. You got the Don Callis family. The Don Callis family. The greatest faction in pro wrestling. My crew. My merry men of murderers. And there seems to be conflict within that group. Because you got Kyle Fletcher holding on to the international championship and seemingly beefing with Kazuchika Okada after breaking up Proto Shita. Now Proto Kata seems like it's in danger. We saw what happened on Dynamite last week. We saw that Fletcher was able to beat Bandito tonight, and even at the presser post show, he Fletcher outright admitted, there may be a little bit of tension between me and Okada. He kind of alluded to, we're both the alpha males thing, and they are essentially at this point both the alpha males of the Don Callis family. If you were going to pick two top guys out of that faction, it's probably Proto Okada. So it would definitely appear that we're building toward that point. So we got Cope and Cage taking on the Young Bucks, it would appear, at All In, and no New Day. I'm sure Hazel will talk about that when he comes back, and we get to talking about that match. But yeah, lots of people were expecting Mr. Kofi Kingston and Austin Creed, FKA Xavier Woods, to be showing up either on this show or anytime soon. It could still show up on a Dynamite or whatever, but not to be. And we're going straight forward right now with Young Bucks versus Cope and Cage, which I think will be an interesting match. I think it'll be good. Cope and Cage, I think, have been on a solid run as tag team champions, and the Young Bucks are the goddamn Young Bucks. So, I don't doubt what they can do. So yeah, what else we got generally going on in the land of the AEW? Obviously, the in the women's division, we shook shit up. Maya World, new TBS champion, essentially beating Hikaru Shida by a flash pin, and then Willow Nightingale winning the women's world championship, beating Tekla by what is essentially a flash pin, which I thought was pretty interesting and unique. Not interesting and unique, but like people have often joked that AEW needs to like storyboard out their finishes or something, because oftentimes you will go through a 4-hour AEW show and see 2 or 3 of the same or very similar finishes throughout different matches, which, I mean, make of that what you want. In some cases, I think that does come off worse than in other cases, but I didn't particularly hate it here, especially given the situations. Like, obviously, we've been talking about Maya World for weeks now and how she's had a great come up. Basically, everyone knows the story at this point. Nixon Nuo and Miranda Alizé are supposed to come in and do some jobs on Collision. I guess they said that doesn't work for me, brother. And Maya World came in. She said, I'm here to do business, whatever. She did business. Tony liked her. She got over, and they kept bringing her back, and she got to the point where obviously enters the Owen Hart tournament as a replacement, gets all the way to the finals, has an excellent match with Mercedes Moné that Dave Meltzer has still not officially rated. They are on Dave's head about that. Hi, chat. How y'all feel about that? Y'all mad at Dave for not rating Maya World and Mercedes? I don't particularly care. Like, the thing about it was, Dave apparently said he was told not to give a rating on the match until he could rewatch it, because I believe he was there or whatever. So he said, okay, but it's Dave Meltzer. So he's always watching wrestling. He's always got shit to review or shit to write about or shit to report on. So it's going to be hard for him to go back and rewatch one particular match. And I do feel that at this point it is kind of on him, because, you do know, Dave, that if they're on your head about it, I guess just give it the world. But it's also the thing that I've talked about so many times, where it's like, no one cares more about a Dave Meltzer match review than people who apparently say his reviews don't mean shit. Like, why are y'all so pressed? Like, most of the people who are mad about this Dave Meltzer thing, about him not reviewing Maya World and Mercedes, they were of the opinion that he was going to give them like 3.5 stars anyway, which is not a bad rating, by the way. That's a good match, but they wanted them to get their 5s or the 4.5s or whatever, and they felt like Dave was going to throw them a 3, and they got mad about that. And here we are, damn near a month after that. But it is what it is. I hope Dave gets around to at least rating it and reviewing it at some point. It would be nice, but I'm not pressed about it. Like, people, if you think Mercedes Moné and Maya World in the Owen Hart finale was a 5-star match, if you think it was whatever, then take that opinion and hold on to that. Defend it. It is what it is. Like, you don't need Dave Meltzer to validate whether a match was great or not. You really don't. And Dave Meltzer himself would tell you that. His reviews they're informed. He's watched a lot of wrestling, but they're just opinions at the end of the day. Just one man's opinions. So, the fact that people get so up in arms about what Dave be talking about is silly to me. And shit, he be saying it's silly to him too. So. But yes. What else we got going on? Nigga, I don't watch Raw. Yeah, I'm not watching Raw. So I'm trying to lock in on what's going on with the dub right now. I went through most of the card. Shout out my nigga. Shout out Andrade, Mr. How You Know, new national champion, defeated my boy Mark Davis, who also I'm gonna give a big shout out to Mark Davis, who given especially in American major wrestling, you have a tag team like Aussie Open, Fletcher and Davis. You split those guys up. You have one guy go on a major singles tear. And in a lot of cases, that ends up with the other guy just being, quote unquote, the Jannetty, where, without his tag partner, without that fallback, he sort of just fades into the background. And Mark Davis did not allow that shit to happen to himself. Like, he got minutes, he got opportunities, and he made the most of it every single time, to the point where he got rewarded with a national championship run and put on some really fucking dope matches. And I mean, obviously, if you look at it, Kyle Fletcher is the guy that they're pushing. He's going to be a world champion level guy at some point. But Mark Davis absolutely carved out a niche for himself on the card. And I appreciate things like that. It is a solid reinforcement of the belief that in AEW, if you stand pat, you take your opportunities when they come to you, and you show out when you get those opportunities, it can bear fruit for you in the long run. It really can. And I honestly, I feel like a lot of this card is an example of that. Obviously, you got Mark Davis, national champion, Andrade, who came back and obviously got really hot, popped off a catchphrase and some emotes and shit. You got the dogs. Maya World, obviously, great example that I talked about earlier of someone who maximized their minutes. And then, of course, the guy in the main event, Kevin Knight, who I've been saying for months now is probably the key example in AEW right now of someone who took their minutes, maximized them, and put themselves in a position to where they're going to be a guy in the future now. Kevin Knight, we said it at the end of the show last night. That was his first pay-per-view main event in AEW, and I sincerely doubt it will be his last. He showed out last night. He and Kenny had a great match. He wrestled like his life depended on it, like the rent was due. Basically working up to that big, like, again, when we get to the full review of it, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I thought that main event was a great example of just match structure and how both guys worked it. Kenny working it as a veteran, upper level, God level pro wrestler who has been through the ringer, who has seen everything, who has seen every type of opponent and knows what to do in there in these situations. And Kevin Knight, who was, again, like a pit bull in trying to seize his first major opportunity and going up against the brick wall that is Kenny Omega. So a lot of that stuff I liked. A lot of really good stuff there. A lot of very enjoyable stuff. But we can talk about Jericho too. Talk about Jericho, Mr. Painmaker. And some people were, I guess, surprised that his Ciampa match was good, that this match was good. I was not at all. I expected it to be good. Because I like the last match they had. I think Jericho's been pretty all right since he came back. And I mean, we're definitely at the point where Jericho is on his Terry Funk, old school wrestler flow where, as you get older, you seemingly just become a deathmatch guy and just get into crazy shit. I heard Dave Meltzer talk about he hated the drill spot, which I knew he would, but I mean, I don't know. I'll fuck with that shit. I enjoyed all that shit. I enjoyed that it's technically Jericho winning by submission because he drilled Ciampa's forehead. Like a spot like that is definitely some shit. Just like when Jericho wrestled Nick Gage, some shit that you typically would only see on an indie, and you're getting to see it in a major promotion. I think shit like that is really cool. I think shit like that is a great showcase of what AEW brings to the table in terms of pro wrestling variety, and liked it a lot. Liked it a lot. So yeah, if y'all was surprised that Jericho and Ciampa had a banger, not me. No sir, not me. Even with all the shit I gave Jericho last year and the year prior and all that, like my point was always, I know he can still go. I know he can still deliver when he absolutely needs to. He just needed that time away to refresh himself, and here we are. Here we are. So, shouts out to the man, Chris Jericho, one of the GOATs. Give me a second. I will be right back. All right, sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So I'm pretty much. So I'll do this. I give a quick little cliff notes because I really just had cliff notes versions of what I was gonna do for the review anyway. So I'll just run through that real quick. We had our first match, 6-way ladder match, to determine the number one contender for the international championship, which is I think they're gonna do it at some point soon. I think all in. But yeah, you had Speedball Mike Bailey, the hometown boy, versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus the Beast Mortos versus Commander versus Nick Wayne versus El Clone. An enjoyable ladder match, I thought. I've talked about this before. There's only so much you can do within the framework of modern ladder matches because so much of it has already been done. And how can you push the envelope without fucking killing yourself or doing something that's, essentially too crazy? It's hard to do that. So I think a lot of these guys just focused on, doing crazy spots and getting crazy shit off and cool sequences. Definitely cool sequences. There's a point where Jack Perry literally he climbed the ladder. He had the and it's one of the tropes that in ladder match tropes in wrestling. It's part of the reason why the match is kind of where it is now. But Jack Perry climbs the ladder and he's literally he can grab the fucking contract, pull it down and win, but he decides I gotta hit this nigga with a sunset flip bomb and kill him and get the pop. I gotta get the pop. It was the pop over the win. And then modern ladder matches kind of run the danger of doing that, and this match veered into that territory a bit, but it didn't bother me too much. So I'm gonna give this a good and a half. Then we have the Young Bucks versus the Dick Riders, aka the Death Riders, aka the Dog Riders. Even though, I don't think Will ever associated with the dog, so whatever. But yeah, Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay, which straight up story match. Story of the match was similar. If you saw Collision and what Ospreay did with Adam Brooks and how Ospreay's been working his matches over the past 3 weeks, it was similar to that. Nick Jackson has an injured neck. My neck sucks. And Mox and Ospreay were really going to town on that to the point where even where Nick wants to make a hot tag into the ring and Matt is hesitant to do it because of the fact that Nick is taking so much damage. So he's like, "Are you sure, bro? I don't know if you really want to do this." But the merch freak cannot be stopped. And the Young Bucks, in fact, won this match. There were shenanigans involved, and there was drama involved. And at the point where Will Ospreay had the choice to murder this man, Nick Jackson, the same way he murdered his friend Adam Brooks. But he said he couldn't do it. So that led to the miscommunication and the Bucks getting the win with the BTE trigger. I'm going to give this a solid goods. The big discourse in this match was the 450 sequence where essentially both Matt Jackson and Jon Moxley no sell 450s. But again, a little egregious, but it happens in Young Bucks matches. I can't be too off the rails about it. Then we got my personal match of the night, Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito for the International Championship. 26 minutes and 20 seconds, the longest match of the night. Even longer than the main event, actually. And again, an incredible match. Fucking Fletcher has been on a tear. Fletcher and Bandito are probably been the two most consistent in-ring guys in AEW this year. And you see it in their work against each other. You see it in their work against everyone else. And they showed it off in this match here, too. Like, an unfortunate, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a downer here, but the crowd was really up and down at a lot of points. And more down than I would have liked for a fucking Canadian Montreal crowd. But it is kind of that situation where I think every match being at least 15 minutes sort of hurt because, I think once the crowd realized, every match is getting time tonight, they kind of sat through the first 10 or 12 minutes of it because they knew, well, you're not going to end it here. Like, They did tease that in the Andrade match, but even then it was like, well, you haven't done a sub 10-minute match tonight. Never mind a sub 15. So I doubt you're going 5 seconds here. But yeah, Fletcher and Bandito definitely took the rope, extended it as best they can, and again, another fucking crazy match between the two. I'm gonna give this one a damn bars and a quarter, straight up, just fire. Then we had the dogs, David Finlay, Clark Connors up against the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and Juice Robinson in a double chain match, which, so watching it, I thought it was interestingly worked because I do like that they worked a lot of struggle spots around the chain, like, because I think they tried to pull from classic chain matches where most of the heat and everything is built around the struggle of pulling the chain back and forth. Like, you're trying to pull this guy either in the ring or out of the ring. He's trying to pull you out or in. You're essentially trying to gain control of the chain and be able to use it as a weapon and whatnot. They worked the match like that. The problem, I think, was they couldn't bleed, or they didn't bleed, because you clearly could bleed because Ciampa bladed later on. But yeah, this was a match that definitely needed some blood to sell this rivalry between the Bang Bang Gang and the Dogs. Like, this is the remnants of the end of Bullet Club, essentially. This is the last sort of Bullet Club Civil War feud we've got left, since Bullet Club is officially dead now. So you would think, let's give it a little oomph. Let's give it a little extra. Let's get some blood in there. But nah, they just worked the regular chain match. And I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but I definitely do think that it definitely could have used some blood. So I give you there. I'm gonna give it a straight good 3. Then we had Maya World and Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship. 16 minutes, 30 seconds. Just about, well, Andrade and Davis was. But again, 16 minutes is the lowest you're getting. That's the least amount of time you're getting on this show, around 16 minutes, which, again, that's long matches for everybody on the show. Everybody got time. Can't nobody complain you cut me short. But yeah, again, I like how Shida is working. I like how Shida is working. She is I've liked how she's turned, how she's been since turning heel. Obviously, I feel like, it's one of those situations where, as time has gone on, you've dealt with injuries and age and the bump card building up. So I think Shida has taken a lot of her physicality and channeled it into character work, and I think it's really worked for her. And I think she had a solid ass TBS title reign in which she was able to credibly pass the torch to a perfect contender at the perfect time. And again, it's a perfect example of what I was talking about with Maya World, of make the most of your minutes, make the most of the opportunities that you're given, because you never know where that can lead to, and you never know where it can pay off. And she was in a perfect position for all her work to pay off on this show, and it absolutely did. Again, you talk about ultimate baby faces in AEW. Obviously, it's Willow Nightingale and the Field, but Maya World definitely has shown herself to be in, just right under that class of Willow in terms of being a baby face that people can really get behind and that people want to root for and see rise up, especially given how quickly she's risen over these past few months. So yeah, I'm gonna give this props. I'm gonna give this a good 1.5. Then we had Cage and Cope. Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, taking on the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and Pac for the AEW Tag Team Championships. And it's interesting because I've been talking about, time and match structure a lot throughout this. And I think this was a good example of Cage and Cope. And I mean, Claudio and Pac are veterans too, but obviously Cage and Cope, 30-year guys, whatever. But they sort of have a more old school tag team formula than a lot of guys have now. Like this was definitely different from obviously the Dogs match, and it was definitely different from the Bucks match earlier in the card. Which that if you want to directly compare a match, that would be the one, because they were both straight tag matches. But yeah, the shine, the heat, the structure of it all, like it predicated being around not a ton of double, like the Bucks versus the Death Riders had a ton of double team spots because that's what the Bucks do. That's what their whole offense is predicated on. And like Tony Schiavone pointed out toward the end of the tag title match, Cage and Cope, they know how to work together, but they save their big double team moments for the big spots and the big, moments where they're going to try to win the match. And the Death Riders did a pretty good job of cutting that off. They kept Christian out of the match, either Cope or Cage. Pretty much whoever was the illegal man he never held the tag rope, I feel like, damn near in this match. He was always on the ground. Either, when Cage was the legal man, Cope was on the ground selling outside. Or when Cope was the legal man, Christian was on the ground selling outside. Nobody ever held the tag rope. So by the time you actually did get the Christian hot tag, it popped off. It popped off really well. And I think that's just a benefit of old school tag match structure that no one else is really going to do on this show. And it's a benefit when every match is going 15 plus minutes to differentiate yourself. So that's what I think really helped this match stand out. And I'm going to give this bars and 3/4, 3.75. That takes us to the Painmaker, Chris Jericho against Tommaso Ciampa in a no-holds-barred match. 23 minutes. Violence. Again, when we've seen the Painmaker, Chris Jericho in AEW, we have seen some crazy things. Most famously, he wrestled Nick Gage, got cut open with a pizza cutter on live TV, and it cut to a Domino's commercial. You know the spiel. And again, this was... You knew where this was going just based off of their last match and how that ended with Ciampa getting the drill out. So, of course, in the finish, Jericho pays that back by drilling him and getting him to submit. But all sorts of crazy shit. The hockey puck with the thumbtacks. Even a little bit of comedy. You even had a little bit of comedy with Ciampa taking out the mascot and beating it up with the hockey stick. And Jericho being a defender of Montreal, even though, again, his dad and he are tied to the New York Rangers, but we're not going to talk about that. Again, the hockey puck with the thumbtacks was crazy. Again, getting slammed on hockey pucks alone cannot feel pleasant. Hockey pucks are hard. But then you put thumbtacks in them, you're wilding. You're wilding. And then, of course, the broken mirror. The mirror that Jericho breaks on his back first and then slams it, glass first on the Ciampa after the glass is already broken. Like, these two went the fuck in. These two went the fuck in. I'm gonna give them their props. I'm gonna give them, again, bars and 3/4. It was up there. Then we have Andrade El Idolo versus Mark Davis, Dunkzilla, for the AEW National Championship. Mr. How You Know came out with not one, not two, not three, but 4 women. I would say Andrade got a girl now. He's tied down again. So I guess this is over. They said, nah. In fact, we are quadrupling down on this approach. And they gave him the 4 girls and then also still have him doing the bit with the girl at ringside where he takes the picture. So, all dope stuff for him. And again, they tried to tease the potential quick finish at the beginning of the match, but in order for a nigga to really believe that, you gotta have a match on your card that you're willing to put under 15 minutes, Tony. Just in the future. But yeah, another solid ass match. I'm gonna give this a 3.5. Then Willow Nightingale and Tekla for the AEW Women's World Championship. Again, Willow, the babyface of all babyfaces. Babyface of all babyfaces. And what I think is so dope about Willow is she's the hossy babyface and the big tough babyface in the sense that she takes heat, but a lot of her spots that fire the crowd up and really get people behind her is like in the beginning of the match where she pounced the living shit out of Tekla and like pounced her halfway across the ring. Shit like that is what really pops people for Willow more than even like seeing her sell and shit like that, which is dope. But yeah, shout out to Tekla, who I thought had a really, really good AEW championship run. Another great example of someone who got an opportunity, got some minutes, locked the fuck in, and made the most of their time, and got to a point where they were rewarded heavily for it. Tekla came in, won the world title, and from goddamn Tony Storm at that, coming off the legendary Tony Storm reign, and might keyword might, we don't know, but might be able to jump right into a feud with her whenever she eventually returns. So even with Tekla losing the title, she's established herself as an upper tier star in the division now. You got her alongside Sky Blue and Julia Hart, Triangle of Madness. Like they've done very well for themselves. Give this 3.5. There was, you can quibble, I guess, about Willow finally winning her world title, because this is a major moment for Willow Nightingale. Been chasing this for years now, since she's been here. Got the damn graphic on AEW Rampage, I believe it was. And after months of people being like, yo, we got to give Willow the graphic. So if you've been tapped in with AEW since at least 2021, you know the Willow journey is one that we've been locked in on and watching. So you would think maybe you want to save that for an all-in or an all-out or a double or nothing or just a general moment where the crowd is feeling it, like, oh my God, this is the night. This is the night we finally crown Willow. We're finally going to do it. Because you didn't get that here. Like, I don't think people really thought she was going to win. And it was a surprise. And people were obviously very happy when she did. Big pop and all that. But it does beg the question of, would it have been better to give she's your lead babyface? You got to be, right? But would it have been better to give your lead babyface the lead babyface type of win? Something that a Hangman would get, that a Hangman did get. So there is that question. But otherwise, shout out to Willow. I'm, super proud of her, super happy for her. She's dope. She deserves it. And, the question now is, with her and Mercedes coming up for All In, for one, does it stay that way? Does Tekla perhaps get added? Does someone get added? Does it become more? Or do we just get straight Mercedes and Willow again? And if we do, what comes of that? Does Mercedes lose at back-to-back All-Ins? Or does Willow get a essentially another 1 month title reign where she drops it to Mercedes? Because that's what happened with her TBS title reign the first time. So questions to ask and questions to ponder. As we go into the main event, for the AEW World Championship, champion Kenny Omega defends against Kevin Knight. 25-minute match. An excellent one. Again, Kenny Omega, one of the greatest of all time, just in general. But in terms of the way he structured this match, I felt like it was really goddamn good. Again, it was the story of wily veteran who still got enough, like LeBron. Talk about like LeBron, maybe LeBron from like 2 or so years ago, but a LeBron that can get in there with a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or someone like that, and then still show that I am still that guy. I am still the standard bearer for which you have to approach this game. You still got a long way to go. As good as you are right now, and you're very good right now, as good as you are right now, you still got a ways to go before you can reach where I'm at. It's different up here. I feel like that was the sort of match and message that Kenny Omega was going for here, and he nailed it. Hardly any near falls, really. Like, and then again, like, there wasn't any real struggles either. Like, he reversed one winged angel. He got out of it one time, and then after that, Kenny was like, all right, I understand it now. Got him the second time, and of course, nobody kicks out. Like, you could have done 1,000,001 falsies to try to build the idea that, oh, Kevin Knight's so close, Kevin Knight's really there, but they relied on their work within the match itself to tell you that story without having to rely on 1,000,001 falsies, and I think the match was better off for it. Because it can get to a point where you're trying to sell the falsies and all that type of stuff, and it can get a little contrived and forced. And I don't think it ever got to that point in this match. Like, Kevin Knight felt like a real contender at all times, and coming out of it, he feels like he's going to continue to be a contender. So straight bars. Enjoy enjoy these high-level Kenny Omega matches while you can still get them, because even he's saying, I don't know how many of these I can do, but clearly he's going to bring them out for guys like Kevin Knight, who obviously he feels like, I feel like that's a vote of confidence to show that giving you this match is proof that you got this shit in the future. So, again, excellent main event match. Giving that a bars. Straight like that.
I'm guessing you just finished with your review, huh?
Yeah, I just went ahead and reviewed.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I figured I thought the shit.
It's just one of those days where I wish I did not wake up, because this whole world is fucked. Everybody in this house sucks. I'm just gonna say it. Nobody should go out of their way to pollute my fucking air while I'm online. Like, no person should be speaking for everybody in this house. Everyone in this house has a voice for a reason. Say what you have to say. If not, shut the fuck up and stop acting tough. We're not back in jail, because I have no problem taking your ass to the street and curb stomping you the fuck out. Don't play that shit. I'm from New York. Don't play that shit, bro. Like, dead ass. Luckily, I didn't, because I get kicked out of this house and then I have nowhere else to go after that. But that shit just went completely out of proportion. I don't appreciate any of that. Like, I know that we don't make a lot of money off of this, but this is something that I enjoy, because I am like 2.99999 seconds away from actually ending it all, because I'm living in this house. And I don't like saying that, but sometimes I do feel that way, which sucks. I don't appreciate it.
Pushing for it. You ain't got to do all that.
I really don't appreciate it. But since you said your stuff, let me say my stuff real quick, and then we'll bring it home. Let me just... 6-way ladder match. It was a very tame ladder match, to say the least. They played it kind of safe until they got to the end, where things started to get a little interesting. And yes, it was the right choice to have the hometown boy, being Mike Bailey, get the win here. Because let me tell you right now, if it was anyone else other than Mike Bailey, they would have been booed out of the building. And nobody would have liked every single moment that took place there. Nobody. It was a clever move for Tony Khan to do what he did by having Mike Bailey get the number one contendership for the international title. And now he has his title defense in Mexico on August 5th against Kyle Fletcher. I'm still going with the other option that I said last night about how it could be Mike Bailey beating Kevin Knight for the TNT title, since I think Darby Allin is out of the picture. That could be the possibility going into All In. So let's just see what happens. But I'm going to give the match a solid good. With the Young Bucks taking on Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay of the Death Riders. Now, we have story here. This was whether or not Jon Moxley will convince Will Ospreay to pull the trigger. Because let me tell you right now, he does have a standard point. You can make as many friends as you want, but those friends are going to become your enemies going forward. And they might pull the trigger before you do. So, you better act now before it's too late. And the story that was told here was just Ospreay and Moxley on whether or not Ospreay is going to do the right thing and do what Jon Moxley has been telling him to do for a long time, and that is be an assassin. We saw the fact that, Matt and Nick were contemplating, because Nick was having neck issues because he landed on his neck, and there were some issues going forward from that. And there were moments where Ospreay did not want to take part in some of the violence that Moxley was doing. And it kind of teased it a bit even more. Once they lost the match, it was clearly stating that this was not going to last long for Ospreay becoming a dick rider. You know, just because, oh, you got the Death Rider entrance, you came out with Moxley within the crowd and everything, you got a Death Rider logo on your jacket. It was not going to last that long. And I kept saying that, like, this isn't going to last. I was expecting it to, you know, finally come to fruition at All In, because it was obvious that Moxley was probably going to be next in line to challenge Ospreay for the world title if he wins. But now we will see, because there's more to this when I get to the very end of it. So yeah, I'm gonna give the matches solid bars. There was a good story told here, and I appreciate that one bit. Now, the match that obviously stole the night, the International Championship, with the stipulation of no interference. Kyle Fletcher taking on Bandito. This obviously was the longest match on the card with 26:20. Everything else was basically like under 20 minutes, above 20 minutes, 23 minutes tops. This match ruled. This match was awesome. Everyone in the crowd was literally on their feet. Fight forever chants, you know, please don't die chants, sick bumps, sick moves, a lot of OMG moments that we were actually shocked about. And once again, like, I get it. They want to add the stipulations sometimes for certain titles that there shouldn't be any interference. You know, Kyle Fletcher wants to prove that he could beat whoever he faces without the assistance of the Don Callis family, and he did prove it. He did absolutely prove it. He didn't cheat. He didn't get assistance. He went out there and he wrestled his ass off, and he got the ultimate win, which, again, was no problem at all. Like, we all knew Bandito was going to lose this match because, again, he's the Ring of Honor World Champion, and we just wanted a first-time match between these two, and it was. You know, when we got to see it for the first time, it was going to be a bar banger of a match, and holy shit, did they obviously steal the show or not? This gets a GOAT, an absolute GOAT of a match. I even said it last night. This was absolutely a GOAT. This was great. This was really, really great. And I love each and every single minute of it. I love the reactions that I did for every spot that they had. It was deadly. It almost looked like people were literally like scared that they were going to die, landing on their heads and their necks. It's like, oh, well, that's wrestling for you. That's modern day wrestling for you. This was a sicko match for every single one of you people. And then we got the Dogs taking on the Bang Bang Gang of Jay White and Juice Robinson in a double chain tag team match. Not one of my favorites. I'm sorry. I think it just goes without saying that there was obviously one particular ingredient that was missing in this match, and that was blood. Like, they really, really needed the blood for this match. It's a chain match. You're wrapped in fucking chains. Go out there and commit some violence. Like, yeah, there was some violent stuff that took place, but this should have had some blood going forward. I don't know who was too scared to bleed, who didn't take enough aspirins to bust themselves open easily or anything like that, but holy shit, you had every opportunity to make this match as bloody and as violent as it could be, but it just felt like a regular tag match, just with no tag rules. And on top of that, like, yes, it's a chain match. There's no disqualification. Your only weapon just can't be a fucking chain. You needed to pull out all the stops here. But I guess...
I mean, most chain matches in history have only used the chain.
I know. But I guess the only reason why they didn't do it was because there was another match that needed all the excessive weaponry and all the murder taking place, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit when I get to it. But it was good, just not one of my favorites. I would give this match a low good. You know, I wish there was more to it. I wish they would have, you know, I don't want to say this is a blood feud. It's really mainly a blood feud because it's Jay and David. That's the blood feud right there. Like, everyone else is just, they're just there. And it just felt weird because I was expecting more of a singles match between these two. Like, if you're gonna do a chain match, just make it a dog collar match between Jay White and David Finlay, and then you would have just went all out with it. I don't think it really needed to be a tag match, but they did what they did. I'm not hating. I did like that one spot where David Finlay almost killed Jay White with a Dominator, landed on his fucking head, which was sick and gnarly, and everyone was just like rewinding that shit 15 times. Young Wolf DM'd us the move, and he's like, fuck Finlay. I'm like, yeah, you have every right to say that. Your father almost died. Literally. So yeah, it gets a low tier good. And then Cat Ash says he enjoyed the pay-per-view. He also says, I love the ladder match when the Lucha walked the rope and landed through the table. That was crazy. Yes, Commander was doing some crazy shit. Commander was indeed.
Wow.
I mean, everyone did their thing in that ladder match. You know, it was just crazy. And then we got Maya World going up against Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship. The match was actually 16 minutes and 30 seconds. This was one of those matches where I told myself, if they don't push this girl to winning the TBS title, and I was saying it for a while, and you agreed with me that this has to be the moment where they finally pull the trigger on Athena losing the Ring of Honor Women's World title to Maya World, because it's been a long time coming. She's already had the belt for 3 years. She's surpassed Roman Reigns' 1,316-day record as champion. She's at 1,320 plus, to say the least. And she has literally been on top of the world in that Ring of Honor Women's division. And I do believe that once she loses, yeah, we are going to see her full-time in AEW. Watching this match, though, this was another, story-based match, because, they're still talking about Maya's brother passing away, the fact that she was in the finals of the Owen, and she had a 5-star classic against Mercedes at Forbidden Door, and that she actually deserved this shot more than anyone. I was like, you know what? I mean, honestly, I completely forgot how she got this title shot to begin with. Do you remember?
Who?
Yeah, Maya, how she got the TBS title shot against Shida.
She won the casino match. No, that was Willow. That was
no, that was
she won the number, but she won the number one contenders match. I'm pretty sure she won the number one contenders match.
I don't remember the casino match. Being a number one. No. The casino match, Willow won, because I was at
the casino match was for the women's title, but Maya did win the number one contenders match. I just can't remember what the fuck it was, but she did win it. She did win the opportunity.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look back on that, but yeah, no, I mean, look, honestly, there was just some moments where, like, I like Shida, but sometimes I feel like she just plays it too safe, and her moves don't really connect. And I'm just like, can you actually connect with these moves? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're literally doing moves that barely even touch the body of Maya World, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are you trying to accomplish here? I'm not gonna say that Shida has lost her chemistry in the ring, because she's a great performer. I just feel as if she has slowed down when it comes to her matches. I think just because she's a heel, she has to be as methodical and slow as she could be. She's not fast paced. She's not, all over the place like she was when she was a baby face. And I don't know, but I am kind of happy that they did the right move. They pulled the trigger. Maya deserved this more than anything, and I'm glad that she got her moment. And you know what's so crazy? Because I was just looking at this before we went live. There are more black champions in AEW / Ring of Honor ever. There's a whole lot.
I mean, they've been doing that. Shit.
Yeah, no. But now it's expanded. After last night, knowing that Maya and Willow won both respected women's championships, now it's literally just like it went up a notch more. Because with Ring of Honor, you have Lee Moriarty, you have Athena, you have Red Velvet. Who else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just It literally was just like, it was black excellence all over. And I appreciate the fact that there is so much black excellence in professional wrestling, because you don't see that a lot in the other company. Okay, they like who they like. Yeah. But I'm gonna give the TBS Championship match a 3.5. I'm not gonna call it an upset because it was kind of obvious that she was going to win it, because I kind of predicted that. As like, well, if they're only changing one title, that's obvious that Andrade is winning his title. They have to change another one, right? Right? And then they did this, and I'm just like, whoop. It looks like 2 titles are changing hands tonight. Cage and Cope taking on Claudio and Pac of the Death Riders for the World Tag Team titles. This was 18 minutes and 35 seconds. This was a filler match. This was all just to, get the graphic ready for the Young Bucks to take on Cage and Cope at All In. Because, Cope is not going to be around very long. I think he said by the end of this year, this is it. He's done. He's hanging up his boots. He's not doing it anymore. I don't know what's going to happen with Christian, but I guess it's just go. I guess it's just like, all right, we are officially on the CNC World Tour of tag teams. At least it's not the Expedition of Gold like the Hardys did. Because don't get me wrong, that's pretty good, but I have been enjoying the Cage and Cope run more than ever right now. I don't think I am hating every minute of it. I just feel like they've just been given matches that are like just on the filler side so that they could get ready for what the main course is. And when the Young Bucks came out,
I disagree.
After that match, they had the graphic already ready for them, which obviously, yeah, it made sense because the Young Bucks have been teasing that they've been wanting a title shot with Cage and Cole for a while, and now that they have it, I feel like this is when a bunch of other tag teams are going to start making their debuts at Wembley. Could possibly be Kofi and Austin Creed. People are saying that, Motor City Machine Guns might be making their debut this Wednesday since they're going to be in Detroit. There's a lot of names that, that are being pulled out of a fucking hat right now that could possibly make their AEW debut because now they're free agents. But I'm just naming those 2 because those are the obvious choices. Not saying AEW does not have tag teams, but I think it's time for their tag division to actually step up. Nothing against Claudio and Pac. I do believe that they're a great tag team, but again, they were just filler for the main course that's taking place on August 30th. So, yeah, this match will also get a solid good. Painmaker versus Psycho Killer. No holds barred. This was another one that passed the 20-minute mark at 23 minutes flat. And I'm gonna say it right now, go. You don't fucking pull out all the stops and just be like, no, we're not gonna have you guys bleed. No, we have to bleed. This is the Painmaker we're talking about. And when you're bringing out the Painmaker, violence will ensue. Okay, we had pucks glued to thumbtacks. We had hockey sticks. We had Ciampa wearing a Boston Bruins hockey jersey and literally getting booed out of the arena because everyone there is a Montreal Canadiens fan. We had him beating up a stuffed animal mascot like he did a couple of months ago with, I think it was a rubber chicken with the Chicken Man himself.
Yeah, yes, but no. No, but yes.
Look, anything to get a cheap pop by fighting a stuffed animal is absolute gold for me. And Tommaso Ciampa knows how to pull that shit off completely. Like, he literally had to coerce Aubrey Edwards to count the stuffed animal. I'm just like, excuse me, but your opponent is right behind you, ready to beat the shit out of you with a hockey stick.
I was with that. And out the pin.
And then it just got even more violent. And then the Patrick Bateman stuff started coming out, with the drill and everything. I'm sorry, but when you bring out a drill and you drill Tommaso Ciampa's head and he taps out from it, I kind of wanted to see the gory graphics of what his head looked like when it was being drilled. I mean, I know it wasn't like a real drill. It was probably like some sort of plastic shit that they had there, but that looked really fucking gnarly. And they went out there and pulled out all the stops. I don't think I've ever given Jericho a goated rating at all since he's been in AEW or New Japan. Maybe I did. I think it was against Naito or Kenny Omega. I don't remember. We have to look at all of our old stuff to see if that was possible. But this one also, it gets a fucking goat. It absolutely gets a goat because, again, you need violence in this, and the minute violence comes out, the star ratings just go up like a GTA game. Get the army, get the FBI, get the tanks ready, just pull out all the stops. And they did that. And I was absolutely satisfied with what took place. I cannot hate every second of that match in particular. That was obviously like my match of the night. And again, I'm a sucker for deathmatch wrestling. There's two things that I love more is deathmatch wrestling and tournaments. And this was the icing on the cake. It gets a goat. It absolutely gets a goat. Andrade El Idolo taking on Mark Davis for the International Championship. Andrade got a new entrance. He came out with more girls. I wonder how your white girlfriend feels about that. And one of them was Tara Zepp. I didn't recognize her without all the face paint. I mean, the tattoos were pretty obvious, but I just never seen her without face paint, so that was pretty new to me. And I was like, oh shit, what are you doing here? But yeah, it was one of those I was like, this was obviously the predictable choice, because if Andrade's not going to get his world title shot, just give him a title that will have him represent AEW in any way possible. And the national title was that stepping stone. Yes, it is a mid-card title. It is a second-tier championship. I don't think it's going to hurt him in the long run. We just needed to find a way to keep him away from the world title shot. That's why I was telling Young Wolf, don't think that you're going to get the title shot in Mexico. It's not going to happen.
It's not about keeping him away. It's just about cashing in on the momentum he built up.
That too. Like, the momentum needed to be built up. And the minute he left the Don Callis family, I think it was actually time to just, have him go on a singles championship reign. Because let me tell you right now, having Andrade in the Don Callis family and then after that being in the United Empire is so fucking confusing in so many ways. It's like, whose side are you really on, bro? Like, who? I mean, I know you're probably still with the United Empire, which is not a big issue at all whatsoever, but it's just, it's just one of those things where it's just like, you need to branch out on your own. I don't really think I should be seeing you in another faction, unless if it's LFI, because I do believe that Sammy is on his way out the door as well, since his wife got a release. I think it's time for you to go back working with LFI, be the leader, do something, because it's like LFI just feels on the wayside right now. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? But it was pretty obvious that Andrade was going to win here. This was very predictable, to say the least. Just please stop taking your pants off.
Nope.
Nobody wants to see your tiny boner. Wear a fucking cup.
There's definitely plenty of women who do, but
I mean, yes, there are plenty of women, but still, it's like, wear a fucking cup.
But
wear a fucking cup.
I'm pretty sure he's wearing a cup. I'm pretty sure he's wearing a cup.
No, that's not him wearing a cup, because that thing is just out there, and it's just like, hey, yo, bro,
that just might be how the fuck is the shape of this shit is, because there's no way he's got something on there.
I don't know, man. I'm a little weirded out. Like, just keep the pants on. Just keep them on. You don't need to take them off. You're not Angel Garza, all right? I mean, you're better looking than
he gets a pop taking the pants off. Angel Garza was getting a pop taking the pants off, and then that stupid ass company told him to stop taking his pants off. So you gonna be that stupid ass company? Let the nigga get over it. Let him do his thing.
And now he's a member of Perros del Mal for no fucking reason whatsoever. It's like, well, at least he gets to chill with Daga, right? What the fuck? I'm going to give it a 3.5. I mean, it was pretty predictable, but this was a really good match. You know what it is? I have been enjoying Mark Davis's time as a singles competitor since I wouldn't want to say him and Kyle Fletcher split up. It was just like, it's time to branch out as singles competitors, and when the time comes, if we decide to be a tag team again, we'll form back together. But seeing them as singles champions actually pretty much ruled. It was awesome. Kyle being the international champion, and then with Mark Davis being the national champion, it was really amazing, because now you get to see their full potential as singles competitors, and their careers have been skyrocketing for a good while. Absolutely, I will honestly say this was the best national championship we got from Mark Davis. He even goes to Collision and Ring of Honor and defends the belt when it's necessary. And when he does, he looks like an absolute killer. I think I'm just overall satisfied that we didn't get to see the interferences of Brian Cage and Jake O'Doyle rules or Lance Archer, which is funny because nobody in the Don Callis family actually made any sort of interference. Like, I get Kyle's perspective. He didn't want no one at ringside.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that too. Like, I mean, I didn't. Not that I don't want to hear Don Callis like commentary, because we just like to joke about how his dentures keep falling off and shit.
You need my commentary. You need it.
You're in Maple Leaf Pro commentating with Mauro Ranallo. I think that's more than enough, dude.
They need me everywhere.
You're fine where you are, and besides, Montreal doesn't like you. So
who does like me? Everyone hates me. I'm a jackal.
Everyone that's in your fucking family loves you.
Well, yes, those are my men. We kill. But aside from them.
Which reminds me, why have you not done an oil painting of yourself and your family with just the most sus painting ever?
Listen, because there's so many of us now, because there are so many of us now, it's going to take a long time for me to have that type of painting. We're going to need a bigger canvas. We're going to need a lot more paint. I'm going to have to get the entire wall. I'm going to need an entire wall for this picture.
You're going to need a lot of tanning. You're going to need a lot of oil.
Also, Trent and Rocky don't want to take off their jackets. So it's tough.
Yeah, that's who. I don't think they want to wear Speedos. All right. 3.5 this match. This match was a 3.5. It was great. It was amazing. Can't wait to see Andrade's run as national champion. Now, the absolute upset of Willow Nightingale taking on Tekla for the AEW Women's World Championship. Oh my God. I was not expecting. I don't think we were expecting it at all.
Nobody was.
Nobody. If anyone had Tekla on their predictions card winning, you were absolutely telling the truth. If you all had Willow as your winner for this match, you're all fucking liars and really thought Tekla was going to actually retain. Look, I was not expecting it because I thought we were going to get what we were really talking about, and that was Tekla being Mercedes Moné. But I'm guessing if you're wrestling Mercedes Moné going into All In, I don't think you want to lose to her. I think you would rather lose to someone that is willing to lose to Mercedes Moné, which is going to be the scary part, and that's Tekla losing to Willow.
I mean, anybody lose to Mercedes. Either you lose to Mercedes Moné, you don't get booked.
I think that was the case. And also, it's like the same time, I think the only reason why she had to lose the belt is because she's obviously going to be going back to Japan to defend the Artists of Stardom championships with the Sisters of Sin.
I mean, maybe, but that don't mean because she might still be on All In. So, you know.
No, I believe so too. But I mean, I don't want to say doing what, but we got 5 weeks.
Like,
I don't want to.
I don't want to speculate too hard about the decision, but they made the decision they made.
Yeah, I honestly think that it was a really good decision, but I'm also scared for the fact that, like, oh no, Willow's facing Mercedes again. We all know what happened when she last faced Mercedes. She lost. Fuck. Well, I guess now they're actually going to pull the trigger and actually have her win. And I'm hoping this is when Timeless Toni Storm makes her return and be like, I'm a slut. I'm a tramp. I want my title back.
Shall see.
We shall definitely see indeed. But I would actually just fucking I would actually say that this match was really good. A lot of ear manipulation taking place because yes, Willow did get stitches in her ear after she got clocked in the side of her head with a microphone by Tekla. And I just feel as if like Tekla's reign has been so monumental that we've never really seen a heel champion be this vile, this despicable, and this evil while being champion. I mean, come on. Who in their right mind will grab a ladder, climb up the ladder, be next to the Titantron, and spit on the Stardom logo? Who goes out of their way to beat up the president of Stardom? Not the women's division. It's only Tekla.
I mean, she the one that got beef with.
And I'm only saying this because when you were telling me about her when I was away, I was like, I don't think I remember who she was. And then I saw her for the first time. I'm like, oh, so this is her. And then she wins the title from Statlander. I'm like, oh, shit. And then the famous line, I did not get fired from Japan. Okay, I did get fired from Japan. I mean, honestly, best line in 2026 so far. Better than any Seth Rollins Roman Reigns.
That is my favorite promo line of 2026. I did not get fired from Japan. Okay, I did get fired from Japan.
Like I don't know why, but that had me dying. And it was again best line in 2026, hands down. If it's not number one on everyone's favorite promo list, you're all delusional and you all need to go see a psychiatrist.
I mean, that's I don't know. Niggas don't like other shit, but from what I've seen promo-wise this year, I love that shit.
I will give it a solid bars because of the upset, because nobody predicted that Willow was actually going to walk out with the title, which was absolutely shocking. Like, we were literally in total shock that like this actually happened. We all thought that Tekla was actually going to go out there, retain the belt, move on, face Mercedes, build up a rivalry, and then we have the match. Now we have to watch 5 weeks of Mercedes and Willow cut promos, being tag matches, build up for the match, and then get ready for All In and Wembley. And I'm hoping Mercedes loses again, because I actually want to see Willow hold on to that title for a hot minute, not just for 5 weeks. Doesn't feel right. Does not feel right. But I think I know what they're doing. I think we all know what they're going to do, because it's Mercedes. Her time has come. If she lost last year, she has to win this year because reasons. So, yeah. I mean, if we're going to do it, just have Willow defend the title. Like, I wouldn't say every week. I'm like, defend it on one Collision, defend it on one Dynamite. Hell, defend it in Mexico. You know, you got plenty of time to do it. That could be the rematch right there. Tekla and Willow in Mexico for the AEW Women's World title. But yeah, bars because of the upset. It shocked everyone. Got a huge pop. And Willow gets to put the belt in a backpack. And I'm getting tired of people putting belts in places that don't need to be out. Like, I don't want to see belts in backpacks. I don't want to see belts in suitcases.
Gotta go in
I want to see belts on your shoulders, on your waist, in your fucking hand. Just it's time to stop. I get a conglomeration. They like backpacks. Cool. Real cool. But no. All right, in the main event, Kevin Knight, our TNT champion, goes one-on-one with Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. I'm surprised that this match did not go longer. You mean to tell me that they gave all the time in the world to the International Championship match between Kyle Fletcher and Bandito, and this got 25 flat? I was expecting
what it needed
to be.
Exactly what it needed to be.
No, and you're absolutely right. It's exactly what it needed to be, because, you know, you were just trying to make sure this didn't hit the 12 o'clock hour, which was like, yeah, I understand. But we were almost getting there. We were 5 minutes away from it being midnight. And just because it ended at 11:55 don't mean shit. We were this close to actually having the show end at midnight.
Yeah, we came close.
There are moments in life where we have to tell ourselves, guys like Kevin Knight deserve to be in the spots that they're in. Not that, oh, I'm TNT champion, I have to stay, I can't reach the glass ceiling, I can't grasp that brass ring, I'm stuck where I'm at, and that's where they're going to keep me. No, absolutely not. Because there are other opportunities for men like Kevin Knight to go out there, showcase their skills against a top star like Moxley, Darby, MJF, Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, and by God, Kenny Omega. And this, like we said last week, this was to test the waters whether or not Kevin Knight was eligible to go out and be a main event star. Did he succeed? Yes or no?
Kevin Knight?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, he showed up, he absolutely succeeded and showed that he will be in many more main events in the future.
Did he prove to all the doubters and non-believers that he belongs in the main event spot with some of these other top guys?
100%.
Did he sell his ass off to
Absolutely.
make Kenny Omega look like $1 million? Did he sell his ass off enough to make himself look good?
All of those things. Absolutely.
Did he get any sort of interference? Did he get help? I mean, yeah, he grabbed the belts, but did he get help? Did he get assistance from anyone in the Don Callis family? Did he go out there by himself and prove to everyone, even Kyle Fletcher and his big mouth, that he too did not need any sort of help from anyone in the DCF?
Yeah, and that'll be the arguing point between them, that they both went with no help, but Kyle actually won. But yeah, he did it dolo, and he came close to doing it dolo.
He came very close on multiple occasions. And look, we talked, I'm going to say it right now, that spot that they did with the springboard sunset flip, holy shit, you almost died.
Yes.
But what the hell? All I can really say is this literally was his moment. They tested the waters. They told him to go out there and just put on a show. Put on the show of your life. And he did exactly what he was told to do. You can never take that away from him now. Now he could be up there with Swerve, Hangman, Ospreay, Moxley, Omega, all those top main event guys. He can now finally be up there and say, hey, I'm now a main eventer. Kyle, Maxwell, what do you got to say about that? Kenny Omega made me look good, and I made him look good. I got to main eventer pay-per-view, and I didn't have to get any assistance from the Don Callis family, let alone
Oh my God.
Like Kevin Knight. It was absolutely a bar burner of a fucking match. It literally solidified his position now. He broke that glass ceiling. Prove why you're the face of TNT. You already proved it last night that you could be in the main event caliber with a guy like Kenny Omega who puts on all-star 5-star matches. I don't know if Dave Meltzer is going to give this 5 stars, but when it comes to me, I'm going to give it a 4 3/4 because it was actually really good. It was fun, but it did not top what Kyle Fletcher and Bandito did. It did not top what Chris Jericho and Tommaso Ciampa did. They were second to that. And I'm not going to say that they're always going to be the second place match that, couldn't get 5 stars out of 2 other matches that I actually enjoyed and liked. But I enjoyed the hell out of it. I was absolutely thrilled. I was on the edge of my seat. I think we both were. I think we absolutely both were. And the minute that one winged angel hit, that's it. It was over. And then we get to the continuation of what took place earlier. Now, dick riders want to show up. They want to beat up Kenny Omega. They want to break his neck. You know what I noticed? I don't know if you caught this, but I was thinking about this for a while when we went off air. I'm like, what Yuta is doing to Ospreay is what Claudio did to Yuta years ago when they nearly killed Bryan Danielson.
Literally what they did to Danielson. They held Yuta, and that's what they did to him.
Okay, so you did say that. All right.
Yeah.
Now, someone's saying it's fair to say this felt like Fastlane. What do you mean by that?
Fair to say it felt like Fastlane. I mean, I guess so. In between, before the big show, like, because obviously I said that at the top too. Like, All In is coming up, so my comparison point was No Way Out. But I guess Fastlane is a similar sort of sense in basically the pay-per-view before the big one.
Yeah, I say to me it was like, Elimination Chamber just without the Elimination Chamber. Like, whatever. But it's its own thing. I get it. They wanted to do something to fit a B show pay-per-view going into All In because a lot of people wanted to complain that, like, oh, we're doing all this build within 10 weeks and All In is like 10 weeks away. We need another pay-per-view. I mean, like, guys, you can't have your cake and eat it too, okay? But you got what you wanted. But a lot of people want to go out there and complain like, there was no storytelling. There was nothing about this show that said, I can't wait to watch All In. Yes, it did. The problem is you all are just a bunch of WWE marks that don't see the bigger picture. All right, you like advertisements after every match. You like looking at product placement during a match. All right, you like hearing bad commentary. So, since the chair didn't work, Ospreay's swinging that shit around like he's a jouster. Moxley comes out. He's like, wait, stop it. Don't you see what I'm trying to tell you? You need to pull the trigger because if you don't, someone's going to pull the trigger on you and you're going to look stupid. And Ospreay kind of did pull the trigger, but it was on Moxley. And I told you this whole dick rider shit wasn't going to last. This was basically, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I don't know how to get myself out of it. Oh, wait. Yeah, I do. Let me swing it at the guy that was training me to become an assassin. So he swings it at him, and, he misses a few times, and, he and Marina are just not happy with what took place. Kenny is basically trying to get up. He sees the bag on the floor. He's like, were you trying to kill me? Please tell me you were just trying to... No, bruv. I was not trying to kill you, bruv.
No way, bruv.
I'm here to give you your belt, bruv. And press R1. And then he's still holding his hand. He's like, hey, since we're in the ring together, how about we do poses? Okay, so we do poses on opposite sides of the corner. And then shades of New Japan from 2015 going to 2016. Well, basically 2016. Kenny Omega's like, fuck this. I'm going to One Wing Angel your ass because I believe you're AJ Styles. And he did it, and he stood there, and oh yeah, I forgot the Young Bucks were there too. And they were trying to be peacemakers like they're John Cena. It's like, no, Ospreay, no, Ospreay wasn't trying to kill you. That was Moxley. And Kenny is like, I don't care. I think I'm becoming the heel now. I think we need that because let me tell you right now, babyface versus babyface is good, but stop doing it all the time. We need the concept of a babyface and a heel when it comes to the main event, and let's do that. Let's fucking do that for All In. If Kenny Omega has to play the tweener where he's loved by many and hated by few, then so be it. Because we all know when we get to Wembley, it's Ospreay's turf. And everyone's going to love Ospreay each and every single second that they have their match. Kenny will more than likely get booed, but not booed to the point where they want him out of the arena. They're not going to be like, I'm just going to say it, and I'm not going to say it again. There's not going to be any CM Punk chants when Kenny Omega comes out, okay? There might be a few, but not many. But I do believe that once we get to Wembley, Kenny is going to look like the heel going into this match, which is obviously why they did what they did last night with him one-winging Angel Will Ospreay, because it was either you were going to get Tiger Drivered or you were going to do something to Ospreay. You're the one that actually pulled the trigger. So now, again, 5 weeks of this shit. We got a lot of build going forward. Let's see what they're going to be doing week to week. Ospreay did say this is the Goku and Vegeta match that everyone wants to see, right?
That's right, bro.
We saw that Wrestle Kingdom many years ago in 2021 for the IWGP US title. And I'm not saying I'm expecting that type of match, because again, Kenny still had to deal with his diverticulitis. I don't think he's that vile and violent like he was before, but I don't know. Maybe they might do that again. We'll just have to wait and see. 4.5. 4.5 this match gets. I enjoyed every single minute of this whole show. It was a B show. What did you give your match of the night?
My match of the night was the International Championship, Fletcher and Bandido.
All right, I'm gonna one up you there. I'm gonna go with the no holds bar match. We can't just pick the same matches at the same time, because that's just like, you have your favorites, I have mine. So I was gonna go with that being the match of the night, but I'm sorry. When you're doing death-defying death matches, you stole my heart, and you're basically giving me what I want. I mean, come on, someone got drilled. What else can you do at this point?
Yeah,
pull out a gun?
Man's got drilled. I mean, listen. If we approach that step, I'm with it, but I don't know if the wrestling mainstream will be with it.
What is your mid match of the night?
The worst match of the night would probably be either the chain match or the chain match. Just because, I felt like it was a fine match, but like, again, I think it was missing the blood. I think it was missing. It should have been shorter too. I think if you weren't gonna bleed, first of all, you should have bled. But if you weren't gonna bleed, it should have been a sprint. It should have been a violent sprint, and they kind of dragged it out, and that didn't work on a card where everything went at least 15 minutes.
I feel like it should have just been more chaotic when you mentioned a double chain match. Like, that's supposed to be absolute chaos, where the ref has no control what's going on, and these guys are just going all out. And I think the problem with that was they made it just look like an actual tag match, just a tornado tag with no tag rules. And that's what, like, threw me off guard. Like, yeah, the main issue was there was no blood. There was absolutely no blood, and I think I was absolutely pissed off about it. I think, honestly, if you would have just done the blood, the mid match of the night would have just been the AEW World Tag Team titles, honestly. But that one gets a pass because we all know where that was leading up to. This didn't really lead nowhere, and I'm hoping that this will probably end with Jay White and David Finlay finally going one-on-one. If it has to be all in, do it. If it has to be in Mexico, do it as well. But it was one of those matches that was just like, it was like Anarchy in the Arena, where you just took all the fun out of it and didn't make it violent. You just went gimmicky with it. And I think that was the issue. They went too gimmicky with the whole thing. And they should have just went into complete violent mode. Like, yeah, the spot that Jay White took was absolutely bone crunching. It was devastating. And, don't do that move again, because it almost looked like he killed himself. He could have been paralyzed. But still, you should have just went with the blood. It would have made the match look even better. It probably would have gotten a bars or bars and a quarter, to say the least. But, it got the lowest grade that it got, which was a solid good, and I can't really complain about it. And I think, honestly, I don't want to say this was the worst moment that took place on the pay-per-view, but when you're Mick Foley and you are being told by the Divine Dominion to bow down, why were you barking?
I don't know. That was probably his idea. You know, Mick Foley be doing shit.
I mean, yeah, no, because like I said, it's not going to hurt him in the long run because it's not like we're going to see him wrestle again. But you know, there are tidbits rolling around that like Mick Foley could have one more match in AEW and then call it quits after that. It's like, Mick, you're at the age right now where, I mean, I know you can still do your hardcore shit, but don't you think it's time to pass the torch onto guys that do 10 times worse shit than you have in your past? Like Darby Allin is basically you at this point, just much more death-defying and masochistic. I don't think you should really be thinking about getting back into the ring.
I don't think he definitely isn't. They wouldn't clear him. He's just there to do like interviews and shit.
Well, I mean, WWE didn't clear him, but you know, once you go to another
wouldn't
promotion,
clear him either. AEW wouldn't clear him. They wouldn't clear him to wrestle.
I mean, it's Tony Khan. If he's gonna do something that
they got doctors too. They're not gonna clear him.
Just hear me out. Because you know Tony Khan will do anything that drastic. I'm not saying that he's going to do it, but there could be a possibility that it might just happen in the near future.
Mick Foley cannot bump. He can't bump. It's not happening.
I mean, you may have a point. You may have an absolute point, and I agree with you. I obviously agree with you, but you can't run away from the wrestling bug forever. You know,
you can have the bug all you want, but like if you can't bump, if a doctor tells you if you bump you'll fucking break your shit, split your shit in two, then you just can't do it. You like
again,
the way for Mick Foley to fulfill his bug, if he got the bug, is to do what he's doing now: be around, interview people, hang around, help people out. That's it. But he can't wrestle. It's over.
Again, I don't mind Mick Foley doing what he did. I bet that was his idea to begin with. You know, it's just Mick Foley having fun. Okay, it's not hurting him. It's not diminishing him. A lot of people are going out of their way saying that this literally hurt Mick Foley, like Goldust putting a wig on Bill Goldberg. Like, there's no comparison. Like, it's Mick Foley. The guy's a stand-up comedian for a reason. I think he just wanted to be funny, and people got a laugh out of it. I don't see it hurting him in the long run, but a lot of people are taking it too far. It's like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. This is horrible. What are you doing to Mick Foley, AEW? How dare you make him do this?
Again, people complain about the stupidest, dumbest shit. Who cares? Like, it was a little weird. Not a little weird. It was weird. It was weird. But
it was weird, but it was still funny. You know,
either you liked it or you didn't like it, but you move forward. It was just an interview segment.
I mean, hey, what do you expect? Like, you know, I would expect, you know, Divine Dominion to do that to every, you know, beta male that, you know, comes across them every fucking time. I mean, I don't see that as a big issue. It's just making them look as divine as possible because they are basically, what's that word I'm looking for? I mean, not goddesses. What's another way to describe a tall woman? Amazon. There you go. There you go. They're basically Amazons, you know. Yeah. So I don't see nothing wrong with it at all. It's just something to get everyone's rocks off, you know, because if nobody, you know, can't get their fantasies fulfilled, Mick Foley will be the one to fulfill them for you. Just pretend that you're him, okay? Just for a moment, sit there and pretend that you're Mick Foley, and you're saying bow wow, bow wow, bow wow. I mean, come on, Young Wolf says in the cross, give me uppies. The fuck?
Yeah, I'll pass.
What's the big deal? All right, yeah. My final grade overall for Redemption, it will get it'll get a B plus. It was just a pay-per-view just building up to All In, which, you know, they had some stories being told, they have some matches being set. Now the following Wednesday we will finally get to see some culminations going forward with promos, face-to-faces. Willow's getting a championship celebration. I mean, you all know Mercedes is going to interrupt that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and on the plus side, Willow's only going to be doing one celebration. This woman tried to do 15. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're not that special to have championship celebrations every week.
She can do what she wants. She's the CEO.
What did you grade the show?
This show gets a B. It was a good show. Again, I've said this a million and one times. AEW has set an impossibly high standard when it comes to their pay-per-views. Like, again, I'm a nigga who remembers a time where you'd be lucky to get one match, like fucking just the Bucks and the Death Riders, for example. You'd be lucky to get one match like that on a pay-per-view, on a major pay-per-view back in the day, and you just get multiple of them now on AEW.
Exactly.
So I never take for granted that standard that they've set, even if they don't necessarily always live up to the loftiest peaks of that standard. But I will say, as a critique, I was saying it earlier, like one of AEW's strengths is their variety. They got a big roster, they got a super talented roster, a lot of different type of wrestlers who can do a lot of different type of things. So I think Tony should think about that in the future, and also think about that in terms of the time cues on his card, because not every single match on the card needs to go 15 minutes. It's nice to give everybody time, sure, but the art of the sprint is something that still works in wrestling. It's still something that, because again, you tried that Andrade spot with him hitting Mark Davis with the elbow at the start of the match.
Very beginning.
Yeah, and it was cool, but like no one really bought it being the finish, because every match up to that point with 15 minutes, and then that match with 15 minutes. So you gotta at least have that little bit of believability, because like I said, you get to a point where the crowd for a lot of this show was just sitting there passively watching the first 10 to 12 minutes of each match, because of the fact that they know, well, we're not really going to get to the potential ending till like we get 15 in. So you gotta keep people on their toes with that, I would say.
And again, before I close it out, I did say that I was expecting a couple of debuts, maybe some returns or anything like that. Like, yeah, we didn't get that throughout the whole show, and you know what, I wasn't getting upset over it. I guess we're just going to save some of those for All In, which kind of makes the most sense. This is their biggest show of the year. Why not just do it there? Whoever you're going to bring in, get a huge pop out of it. Get whoever you can. I don't care if it's 7 names, but just don't get everybody. You don't need everybody, Tony. Just get whoever you can to help out and to get a name out there. And that's pretty much it. Kairi Hojo will more than likely make her debut at All In. Kofi and Austin Creed will probably make their debut at All In if the Young Bucks win the tag belts, which is probably the obvious choice. Who knows? Motor City Machine Guns could be the possibility that they could show up this Wednesday, because they're going to be in Michigan. And yeah, I mean, if Malachi Black decides to make his return, let him come back. Everyone that's just going out of their way to be like, we don't want him, too fucking bad. Because at the end of the day, guys like him are going to make money in AEW, and you're going to make money with him whether you like him or not. So just accept it, move on, and just enjoy what you guys are doing right now. It's not like it's CM Punk. The fuck?
Yeah, listen. I don't know what's going on with the Pepsi, man.
I mean, I don't know. Well, I kind of know what's going on, because Young Wolf did send a video. Apparently, he kissed Danhausen, and so did Cody. And I'm like,
oh, yeah, I saw that.
Gay.
I don't care about that.
But it looks like there has been enough talk. There has been enough of this review. Again, I apologize for everyone in advance. I wasn't expecting to have a house meeting within this house, and it took me forever to get back on. But luckily, I got to do my version of the review. TJ did his while I was away. So fair game, whatever. I'm not going to say it won't happen again, because apparently we're going to be having house meetings every Monday now. So let's just see what happens going forward. But as always, we'll be back tomorrow for Come Tuesday TV, where we will watch 6 more episodes of Ghost Stories, Dynamite Deep Dive Live this Wednesday, Collision Course this Thursday, because SummerSlam is taking place on Saturday and Sunday, which I will be going live for, with quite possibly a special guest, maybe Kofi Weeson, because this man does not watch the Fed.
Fuck no.
So yeah, looks like there's been enough talk. There's been enough recapping. It's been a while since we've done this, and I'm glad that we got to bring it back. But it is time for us to bring it home here officially on the Ramblemania show. So Greg One, why don't you tell all the Ramblemaniacs and all the BC aliens where to find us.
Indeed, you already know where to find us. Find us on Instagram at Ramblemania Show and at Banter Club Podcast. Find us on Twitter at Ramblemania, Facebook.com/Ramblemania Show. Also find a group there, Ramblemania Shows, Banter Club Mania, the rest of the podcast is everybody we associate with. Post all our goings on, all that's going down. As far as audio, wherever audio is found, Apple Podcast, Spotify, everywhere podcasts are found, search Ramblemania Show or Banter Club. As far as visuals, twitch.tv/Ramblemania Show. We are on YouTube. Search Ramblemania Show or Banter Club. When you get here, like the videos, click subscribe, click the bell, so that when the new content drops, it goes straight to you. As far as me personally, find me on Instagram at TJ the Great One. That's TJ the GR, the number 8, the number 1. Find me on Twitter at TJ the Great. That's TJ the GR, the number 8. It's as simple as that.
TJ the Great. TJ the Great. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram at iZombies, IZOMBIESZ. I want to thank you all for joining us here on this AEW Redemption review. I know it's been a while since we did this. We will continue to do more of them, especially for AEW. Hell, we might do TNA, we might do Ring of Honor, but no more WWE reviews because at this point it's like we're fucking done with this shit. But for TJ the Great, I'm Hazel the iZombie. This has been our Redemption 2026 live review here on the Ramblemania Show. We want to wish all of you out there a pointing goodies. You're a too fucking sweet.
Back inside a nigga fight and a good night. That's it.
God bless and 6XL forever.
Fuck!